So August 24th, 2019 was the first time I was ever at a Harvest Crusade, and of course the security is packed. I mean, you have to go through metal detectors, there's police officers there. It's very highly regulated, for obvious reasons, of course. But I'm Dennis the Menace all the time. I carry things that most people on planet Earth would never carry, but I always, as a Royal Ranger, always want to be prepared for anything. And so I get over by the metal detectors, me and my grandfather, and the security guard told me, just put your phone and your flashlight right here. And so I had a flashlight case in my belt, and then I had my phone case on the other side, and I put it in the bin. I mean, shouldn't you ask me to empty my pockets first? But before I could say anything, he said, just go through that metal detector. I'm like, you're the security officer. So I go and I walk through that metal detector, and just like I thought, it rang. And so the police officer right there, not smiling or anything, with a metal detector wand or whatever, and starts doing this, and he gets to my first pocket, and it rang. And I'm wearing cargo pants here, and he asked me what's in there, and so I emptied it, and I forget where was where, but for example, I believe this was where my wallet was and maybe some change. And he said, okay, put it back in. And then he went to the other side, and it rang, and he said, okay, what's in there? And so I pulled out what I had in there. I think some more change for like coin tricks for like if there's children nearby. That's what I do. I probably had like a little rope trick that I had where I could take 3 little ropes and make them into one big rope. I do that for children all the time too. And then he went to the pockets down further, because I'm wearing cargo pants like I always do, and he's like, okay, what's in there? And he does the same for the other side, and it's like I have like a pocket first aid kit. I probably had a deck of cards. I had all these things that were in my pockets, and I'm not sure if I'm humiliated or scared to death I'm going to be arrested. No, probably not. But number one, what is he thinking? I do not want to know what's going on behind me right now, all the people witnessing this. And again, it's just the Royal Ranger in me. It's being prepared all the time, and being prepared not just with first aid, or I think I had my base plate compass with me too. But just in case, I almost always carry these things. Oh, and also a camera right here. Well, not this particular one, this is a replacement, but I also had a camera on me too. That was in my the pocket on the other side of the wallet. So, and believe me, this went on since high school. In fact, I used to carry probably 4 or 5 times the amount of stuff in my pockets, in my shirt and everything, with little mini books and highlighters and pens. Please watch a video, I forget what I call it, but it's up here. It's about the autistic trait of always bringing everything with you, and why it's hard for us to get out the door right away. Like we say 5 minutes and we're out in an hour. Now was the time to turn around. And I turned around, and my grandfather's there smirking at me, and the security guard, I think he was kind of giving like a smile or something. I mean, the security guard was nice. The police officer never smiled, and that's what freaked me out a little bit. I mean, I'm surprised that he did what he did for that long, instead of like busting me after the first ring or whatnot. And so I went back to that container, whatever, and I retrieved my phone, and I retrieved my flashlight, and in retrospect, I always wanted to look eye to eye in that security guard and said, next time, tell me to empty my pockets. The next day on the 25th, I knew better, and I had hardly anything in my pockets. I only brought what was necessary, like this camera and everything, just I think a few dollars, and I emptied everything, and I made sure everything was empty, and I walked through that metal detector, and lo and behold, it went off. It's like, what did I do? And the police officer said, okay, like go like this, and he did the metal detector thing, and I'm like, there's nothing in my pockets, I don't know. And he said, well, it might be your belt. And so he told me to take the belt off, go back through the metal detector and back through and such. And I'm like, oh no. So I had to undo my belt, put it in the container bin, whatever. I walked through, and lo and behold, the metal detector did not go off this time, and we solved the problem. And all this just for that. But in reality, I'm always nervous when it comes to metal detectors, because it's like no matter what happens, they always seem to go off. And then it depends if the security guard or police officer is having a nice day or not. But a lot of times they're having a nice day, so it makes me feel, okay, I'm not going to be arrested. And the peculiar thing is that everything switched. This time the police officer was just filled with smiles and all lively and everything, just like the security guard from the day before. and it was the security person, the security guard, who was not really seeming to have a good day and not really seeming to care about other people. So that's my fiasco. I'm glad that I went through. As soon as I went through, the rest of my night was clear. Now I have to try and find a seat in a stadium with tens of thousands of people inside. And by the provisions of God, because I was, there alone, I got that one seat, and I got a perfect view. I was way up on top of Angel Stadium. I got a perfect view of Chris Tomlin and the Newsboys and Greg Laurie and everybody. So anyway, that was my story. Don't laugh too hard.